And this is where I had to understand how money plays a part in my life, because I came to something that I call the quadrufit theory. And the way that I put it is there's 4 aspects of life. If you want to live a happy and fulfilled life, you have to be healthy in these 4 aspects. First, you have to be physically fit. Second, you have to be mentally fit. Third, you have to be spiritually fit. And fourth is financially fit. And the way I put it in this order is because physically, if you're not physically fit, if you're morbidly obese, you're on your deathbed, it doesn't matter if you have $10 million. The only thing you care about is being healthy again. Second, mentally fit. If you are depressed, if you're anxious, if you are not surrounded by people that you love, if you're not happy, having more money is just going to make you more miserable. And this is a big misconception out there where I know people in my own personal life, I'm sure you do too, where people are like, if I just make $1 million, I'm going to find the love of my life. I'm going to be liked. People are going to want to talk to me. You start to imagine this world where money is going to solve the mental aspect of your life, but that's not the case. It's its own aspect. So more money will not make you mentally happy. Then is a spiritual aspect. And this doesn't have to be religious. This is your purpose. For me, it's what is the reason why you're on this earth? What are you waking up for every single day? If you don't have a purpose, you're not going to have a reason to get out of bed no matter how much money you have. After you have the physical fitness, the mental fitness, the spiritual fitness, that's where the financial fitness has the biggest impact and the most power to help you live the most fulfilled life, because now money is just the icing on the cake, man. It allows you to live a more fulfilled and a happy life because now you can do more of the things that make you happy. You can give more. You can buy more food for homeless people. You can do more things that give you happiness. Maybe it is writing books. Maybe it's traveling. Maybe it is giving. Maybe it is starting businesses. Whatever it is for you, you have the resources and the ability to do that, but that requires you to have that financial education and be willing to now go out of the way to talk about money and learn about money and understand that, hey, money is something that I need to understand. Money is something that I need to be willing to talk about. Money is something that I need to be willing to learn about, because most of us are never taught to think about money, myself included.
Yeah. I mean, I love that thesis and I would agree with you, because I had similar rhetoric in my language growing up. So when we talked about money, we always had just enough. So I grew up when I had 0 in my bank accounts on plenty days. And that was just, we had just enough. Or we often talked about money as if we went to a place where someone had a nice home or someone had a nice car, the conversation would be, oh, well, that person does some sketchy stuff. Or they must have done something that was stabbing someone in the back or causing someone pain to be in that position. And so you start creating this very negative, toxic view towards money. Yeah. And like you said, at the same time, you need access to it. Have you ever figured out what it was for your parents that you think created that disparity in their relationship with money? Have you ever probed that? Have you ever understood that?
Well,
because it comes from somewhere, right?
Yeah, I think it's a cultural thing. I think across the Indian culture, my parents are from a state in India called Punjab.
Yeah.
Culturally, money is just one of those things, like even in my culture, my religion, like there's this concept called kirat karo, which means earn an honest living. Now, many people have interpreted that, in many different ways of, oh, don't worry about money, don't talk about money. And in the Sikh religion, there's also this big concept of seva, which means selfless service, giving back. And so there's this kind of like real giving aspect, which is great. And I agree with, but many times we overlook the idea of, how about the earning aspect? How do we earn? How do we take care of ourselves? Because the way I look at it is, if you want to be able to fill somebody else's cup, you want to feed somebody else, you have to be able to feed yourself first. And this is a lesson that my grandfather taught me. My grandparents are immigrants, or they were refugees before they came and lived with me. They were refugees because the state of Punjab used to be much larger. 1947, the state was severed. And if you were a Sikh and you were on the west side of Punjab, you had to migrate east, otherwise you were going to be killed. And it was a very brutal, very rough, very bad time. And my grandparents were on the west side. And so immediately they had to leave their homes, leave their lands, leave family members, leave their friends behind, and migrate and run east. My grandfather, I heard this story a lot, and he actually just moved back to America. But when he started the migration process, the process moving east, all he had was a sword in his hand and the clothes on his back. Nothing else. Left all the money, left all the land, left everything behind, even left his parents behind, and started running. And during that process, he got attacked by a mob. And he had to defend himself, and he saw his uncle get killed right in front of him. His uncle got a knife, a sword right to his head, cut his head open in half. And that was the last time he saw him. And now he comes over to the new east side of Punjab, the new India. He lost his shoes along the way, doesn't have a home, doesn't have any family, doesn't have any friends. He's here just trying to figure it out himself, and now has to figure out, how do you make life work? And what he tells me from that time is, poorness is the worst disease. And the reason why is because when you're at that level of poverty, that level of poorness, you can't even think about feeding somebody else. You can't think about helping another person, because the only thing on your mind is, how can I feed myself? How can you feed your family? When that's the only thing that you're trying to do, you can't worry about feeding other people.